Hey guys, welcome to episode 4 of this series where we build a web application using Rust. In our previous episode, basically we built the asynchronous framework for handling our database queries, sort of like a reactor pattern utilizing Tokio channels. So we run the database manager in a separate thread and we communicate to that thread using message passing utilizing Tokio channels. And so in today's episode we'll start building the server-side implementation. We'll basically be building this iteratively, right? Like I'd start with a very simple implementation and then we'll gradually build upon that, and we'll try to cover all the things that we need for a URL mapper web application that we're trying to build. Now, so in order for us to do that, we'll basically be looking at this library called Routerify, which is a routing library. It's built on top of Hyper, which is Rust's HTTP library, and I think it does a very good job in keeping things very simple. So yeah, let's get started. The first things, obviously, like anything else, what we will be having to do is we'll add these libraries into our application. And so the first thing I'm going to add is Hyper, which is the HTTP library. We'll be needing this because Hyper gives us the request response body and some other types which we'll be utilizing for our routes. And also then we will be adding Routerify, which is basically the routing bit. For those who are familiar with Node.js, Routerify has a lot of similarities to Express.js. For those who are familiar with Golang, Routerify has a lot of similarity with Gorilla Mux. For those who are familiar with Ruby, it has a lot of similarity with Sinatra. If you look at its tagline, what they say, basically it provides a lightweight, idiomatic, composable modular router implementation with middleware support. That is key, because obviously we need the middleware to handle a bunch of different things. Perhaps we'll probably use that to build some kind of an auth layer, things like that. We'll also be using the middleware for doing logging. We'll see that as well. So let's just get started with this. Now that I think we have the full libraries that we need, we'll start working on our implementation. Now, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to basically create my server module, and instead of that being a file, we'll basically create a folder for that, just because, like we said, it's composable and modular, the routing API. So we will try to compose them by keeping different things in different places, and we'll try to keep the code, we'll try to organize the code in a very sensible manner, which allows us to sort of build and expand it. And also it becomes easier to manage and maintain it and reason about what thing is where. So let's start with this. Obviously we would need a mod.rs file to begin with, and let's say I'm going to load a model server here. I'll create my server.js, rs. Okay, so in our server rs, basically the main thing we want obviously to create is a async function called listen. And I think this most likely should be returning a result because it should encapsulate errors, because like for example the server could fail to start, maybe the port is already in use, things like that. So we obviously do have to return an appropriate error in case of failures, but if it doesn't, then we'll just return an empty a tuple to indicate. I'm going to add that to begin with. In case everything goes fine, we'll just return this, and that will indicate that this is working. And so if you look at the documentation here, what we essentially want to do is, ignoring a lot of these other things, the base, the main things comes under this. The main function here in their example, basically we would need to create a router, then we need to create a router service wrapping that router, and we need a socket address to define where the server will be listening on. Here we'll try to utilize a config as well, because we already have a host and a port in our config, so we'll try to utilize that. And then finally, eventually, once we have all this, then we try to actually bind the server to the address, and then start and say, okay, that this guy should be serving our router service, which encapsulates all the routing layer. And once we have the server, essentially then we need to call server await to actually start our server, right? and so we'll be keeping all this inside our listen function, and then our main would basically call the listen and then await on it, and that should be enough for us to have a very basic server implementation. So the first thing, obviously, we need a router. What I'm going to do is I'm going to create yet another sub module here, and I'm going to call it routes. Right, and what we will do is we keep all our routing logic within this module. The pattern that I'm going to follow is each of my route, they will be exposing a function router. Yeah, we're going to be exposing a function router, and what this should return would be a router of body and optionally an error, because there may be an error. Now what we need to do now is we need to import a bunch of things. Body comes from hyper, and then routerify gives us the router and error. So this is that, and so what we're going to do is we're going to basically use the router builder, and we'll set up our middleware for logging. So for this we need the middleware, and then we'll set up our home route, we'll call it home handler perhaps, and let's also include the error handler. Build and then unwrap. This is what we're going to return from here. A few things obviously that are missing, we'll add them, the logger being the first of them. Let's just copy it, copy this as it is. I think should be fine. It's pretty straightforward. All we do is basically so I'm going to make minor changes here. Instead of infallible, I am going to resort to routerify error. I think that's slightly more appropriate, I find it. And anything else? No, I think everything else is fine. And actually we would need a few things, and the reason I'm not seeing any errors is because this module has not been loaded. So the first thing we need to do is also our server module has not been loaded, so let's just add that. Yeah, so this would load our server module, it will make sure everything is there. It says unresolved module, and so our router is simply going to be routes router, right? The service is going to basically encapsulate the routes. You don't need to do a wait, just unwrap. Okay, and then we'll have the address. Now instead of using socket address from and things like that, first obviously I want to import my configs. Okay, and then what I'm going to utilize is I'm going to make use of the parse function, and what that allows me to do is so parse is a pretty neat function that allows you to basically utilize, if you look at the documentation, this allows it, this is a very generic this thing, it will basically be able to parse my string into the socket address object. We're going to unwrap, I guess. Okay, and it's likely going to complain. Yeah, let's include a bunch of things. Parse gives us a result. Let's just and I'm going to routerify gives us the route service. Okay, so it says cannot find function router in module routes. It also says file not found routes. Oh, that's the reason. Okay, we have to mention it here. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So now past will obviously complain. Let's now instantiate our actual server. For that, again, what we need to do is import Hyper's server. So server is going to be server bind and address, and then serve the service. Yes, and finally we are going to say server.await. So we will bubble up any errors if you find. Now coming to our actual still complaints. We'll worry about that later. It says this is missing. That comes from request, comes from Hyper. Remote address. Yeah, I think basically we need to import ext. Yeah, this guy. The request extensions from Routerify. That's what gives us the remote address API. Now we need to implement the home handler and the error handler. Okay. Let's do that. Let's copy stuff first. Right now, I don't want to really do anything with state, so I'm going to ignore request because I'm not really going to use this at all. We also need to import a response, and then I'm going to use error instead of infallible. Let's also use a more appropriate response message. And now the only thing remaining is an error handler. Let's look at the error handler. I think the request info, I believe, comes from Routerify, I believe. Yeah. Okay, so we have everything now. So we have our error handler. Let's look at this guy. Yeah, the error handler is fine, and we'll be logging it as well. Then we have the home handler. Again, it's just basic, very basic. Everything is basic. Let's go to our main now. We've imported the server module. I'm going to remove all of our DB stuff, and now what we need is to call the listen function. We call the listen function and await. We probably have to expose. Yeah, I think we'll have to expose the listen function to the public world. Only then will this be accessible over here. Yep. Cool. So it's complaining about dbtx. Right now we're going to underscore it to ignore this error. We're not utilizing the message type as of now. Let's eradicate that error. So I think let's look at it. Okay, so these are a bunch of these warnings, and the reason we have these warnings is because we're not utilizing them as of yet. And so we'll solve them once we actually build the API. We'll be utilizing all of them, and then these warnings will go away in our server. Before, we actually, once we have this thing, we can actually say we can log this. So yeah, say server started. Let's look at the API is running. Awesome. I think today's episode should be pretty straightforward. Very simple server implementation. We're just listening on it. Right now we're not doing anything, and obviously the database manager and the server right now are not communicating in any way. We'll see that in our future episodes. The goal was to have a very basic initial server implementation. Here we utilized our configuration. We looked at parse, and now our server is listening to our requests. We're utilizing println and eprintln, which are fine technically, but when you look at an actual production ready application, you would want a proper logger, and especially structured logging is something, you know, that adds a lot of value. For that purpose, we'll look at a crate called tracing. We'll switch to utilizing tracing library. We'll mostly be utilizing, you know, these macros that are available, the trace, debug, info, warn, error macros. We'll make use of the FMT logger, I think FMT subscriber, sorry, the FMT subscriber, which is available, I think, in the FMT subscriber rate is available from the tracing subscriber package. So we'll be adding these two of them, couple of these. So let's add them. So the first thing I want to add, of course, is tracing itself. Then I want to add tracing subscriber. Okay, let's go to our main. So now what I want to do is I want to import FMT subscriber from tracing subscriber, and then here we are utilizing our println. So for that maybe we'll use info. So we'll import info from tracing. So it has a very simple API, very similar API to, for instance, println. So I can actually literally just replace that with println and it will work. However, obviously we need to set up, do a little bit of setup to get it working. So we need to create the subscriber, which would basically be just an instance of FMT subscriber, and then we have to utilize that global default. Yeah, so we utilize that. So that comes again from tracing. Subscriber set global default, that's the one. Thank you. Set global default is going to be our subscriber. Okay, and so now let's look for all instances of println, and we'll replace them with either info or println. Okay, and obviously we need to add these imports. Looks good. Looks good. And we have error here as well. That's it. Let's do a cargo check. Looks good. Let's do cargo run. Let's now see it in action. All right, so let me expand this and show you. So obviously we have these info logs that are coming here. Few of the nice things you can see here is the log actually also has a context information available, so you know where the log is coming from. I think that's helpful. Obviously it added a timestamp, even that is helpful. And these are the minor things. I think that'll be all for today. Let's end it here. In our future episodes now we'll start working on this server piece. We'll improve it. We'll gradually build our actual RESTful API. Part of the things would be the user facing API for the redirection and other things for the actual URL map. And then part of it would be sort of the I would call it so-called admin API, whatever, for the actual CRUD operations, which allows us to manage the URL maps, and then we'll be building that gradually. And we'll also, once we start building on that, we'll see obviously how the communication between the database manager and the server happens. All right, thank you so much, guys. Thanks for the support, and please subscribe if you haven't, comment, share, and do like the video if you like it. And if you have any thoughts, if you think there are certain things that can be improved in this code, what I'm building, obviously this is I'm taking a very simplistic approach, and I'm utilizing all very basic simplistic libraries as well. But however, if there are certain other ideas you have, think ways in which we can improve this, please do let me know, and we'll definitely try to improve it. Alright then, thank you so much guys.